Hey there, Matt. It's good to see you again. I know this is about the fourth time we've met. How are you doing today?
Every day just I know we've been doing this talking thing for a little bit now, and yeah, I think I've been here around, 3 or 4 times. I don't know, man. I know you're here to help. I know that I can be difficult to get through to sometimes. It's just I'm still feeling pretty low. I think prayer just really isn't enough for me right now. I've thought about, a lot of the things that, you've been working on with me. I'm really just not getting the results. But it's also, pretty hard for me just to feel good about life right now. I'm still feeling pretty down. And my daughters, I I think I told you about them the first session, but ever since the divorce, they've been on my ex-wife's side, and they just, I really want them in my life, but they're just really not giving me anything to work with. And I raised these girls, and when things were great at home, we had this really amazing, relationship, as a family. And now that's, feels like it's all gone out the window now. So, I'm hurting, and I don't say that, especially not to another man, very often. It's just like I'm hurting, and I don't feel like I'm really getting anywhere.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to, seek counseling and seek it with me. I'm very happy to be of service and help you out. Man to man, we all go through certain difficulties in our lives that can be pretty soul crushing. And hearing your story in the last couple meetings, really trying to filter out what that looks like for right now. Um, it's understandable that you'd be feeling this way. And
Well, I
so,
appreciate that. I do.
yeah, for sure. And but I can tell by how you're feeling, how you're expressing yourself that things are still just, and it makes sense. We're only a couple sessions in. I want you to maybe set your expectations a little differently. This is going to be an ongoing process. This is a big event in your life, and it will get better. I can't promise you in what ways, but I can say I have hope for a brighter future than this. Um, and so I just want to give you that. Um, so I want to get your take. I want to try something new. If you're down for it, I'll kind of explain it, and we'll go from there. So basically, I just want you to do this imagination hypothetical work right with me. Um, Now you're in your 50s. Of course, things can happen. Um, you know, you could die tomorrow, but this is really imagining if you led a full life and you're on your deathbed, you know you're going to pass, you know, within hours, right? And you're just imagining your life up until that point. And so you're just going to you kind of I really want you to just break down all the things that were really important to you in your life. Any any negatives, positives, regrets, um things that stood out to you that gave you a lot of joy in your life. Um and maybe things that in the future you would like to do before you get to that point, if that makes sense also.
I follow. I hear what you're
Okay.
saying.
Okay. Would you like to try that process out?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want me to like close my eyes or anything, or how should I
It
how
can
should
be
I approach?
it could be whatever you're comfortable with. If that helps you kind of hone in on past experiences, that'll be perfectly fine. And so whenever you're ready, kind of just work through some of those different positive and negative things, and I'll let you have at it.
Okay. So I got a little bit of time left on my clock, right? Like my days are
Yes,
numbered, is that right?
that's right. Yes.
Okay. So, man, this is hard for me to talk about family because family was my everything for a long time. So I guess like just this whole topic of family and my ex-wife and my daughters, like I don't know if that's positive or negative. I don't know. Like once upon a time it was positive and now it's a negative. Um, but I
Right.
definitely enjoy being with a woman, I mean that's if I could, you know, find a new woman, I think I could get back on track. I think some of my negatives, have a lot to do with some of those bad decisions I made during my marriage. You know, I'm not really ready to get into some of those mistakes that I made. Um, I don't, yeah, I don't want to talk about that today, but I'm thinking about, doing a lot of like community service when I'm not working. I feel like that is something that I want to be, known for. I don't make Bill Gates money. They're not going to be calling me a philanthropist or anything like that, but I think giving back is something that I want to be recognized for.
Mhm.
Um, it's something that I'm not doing so much of now. I've been pretty sad lately, but I think doing stuff for others, is a real positive as I look back. Um, Finding some additional positive like friendships, and I don't really do the whole female friendship route, but some guys that I've gotten to know over the years that they've been, some powerful people in my life. And so I'd say friendships with grown men have been a positive. Um, what else? Is there any other area that you're looking for in my life, or can you give me
It's
some like categories maybe?
sure, sure. Happy to help. So it could even be when you were younger, before the marriage, before you had daughters, kind of what made you excited in life. I understand that being with a woman is something you know beneficial for you, and maybe that's what you were kind of searching for before you met your wife. Is that
Yeah, yeah. Like I had finished school. I'd started a career path, and I'm still involved with my engineering company today. But I when I think about younger me, I think about traveling a lot. I've been to a lot of places. I've been around the world even before I met my ex-wife. So I think getting to see new places, experience, new food, new culture. Um, that's something that stands out to me is something that I was able to do when I was younger that I'm not doing now and I haven't done for quite some time. Um, so I think
then
I
let me
think traveling is good.
let me ask you, while you were in your past, with your ex-wife, what made you, sort of stop the traveling? Or did you travel but just shorter amounts? What was that like for you in your
Oh,
relationship with her?
yeah, I mean that's a good question because I think our honeymoon was the last trip that she and I took together, which is, sounds pretty sad, but I think, when we had kids, right after we got married, they became, the central focus. I feel like, for me and my wife at the time, but I feel like both of us made the kids the priority in our marriage, just I don't want to call it a second priority, but it came after, the kids.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I'm hurting so bad about my daughters not wanting to talk to me, because both me and my ex-wife, we wanted to create, something special for them. And
Mhm.
so anyway.
And so what I'm hearing is they became your priority. They became what you looked forward to in your life. Um, tell me a little bit about before you had kids. Spending time with your wife.
Yeah, I mean, I say all the time, like those were the days, that early, dating experience with her was just, it was great. We had a lot of mutual friends. We went out, we, danced the night away some nights, and it was really special. I just don't like thinking about it in terms of, our marriage failed because we had kids. I don't think that's true, but I think our lives, both our lives, got a lot harder, you know, when Lindsay first came out. So,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's not none of my kids' fault, but I feel like I used to do more things in general,
Mhm.
in my relationship with my ex-wife, and with the kids. So I guess, to answer your question, um, it became less about the marriage, more about the kids. And instead of traveling, we just tried to cater to them as much as we could.
I see. I see. And let me let's see my train of thought. Um, and when you think back of all the positive things that you mentioned in at different points in your life, right? When before you met your ex-wife, when you met your ex-wife, um, obviously when you had kids, I'm sure there was plenty of joy there as well.
Yeah.
Um, you know, when you think about all those things, does it kind of give you an idea of what potentially could still be in your life? Because I know that you've really been focused on the fact that, you've been really focused on just not being able to connect like you did with your daughters, um, before the divorce. And so just trying to help you see maybe there's potential to live life and find meaning in more ways.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And we've actually talked about this before. And I know you got a lot of good faith in me and in my journey. I just don't really feel like I have a lot of confidence in myself that I can turn this thing around. I get stuck in these thought loops about me just, not having a relationship with my daughters anymore. And sometimes those feelings, they're just really strong.
Yeah.
Um, I think that we're on the same page, Martin, with, the hope piece. It's just whenever I get a little bit of hope, I just think back to those my girls. And man, I only, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm just not, I'm not feeling good about that. And sometimes that creates like that, cloud over me. And it just makes it hard to kind of move on, move forward, and kind of get some traction.
Right, right, I see. Well, let's okay, so bringing back to where you're on your deathbed, right? Um, so many
Back.
years from now, right? What are some things that gave you joy or you could potentially see giving you joy from today to that point in your life? Your life isn't over, you're still here, you're still breathing, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Just
Yeah.
try to imagine maybe just like something you could try to set up, maybe a vacation, right? Maybe a self-care type of maybe there's a certain place that or a couple places that you really wanted to travel to, but then you got married, then you had kids, and all of that kind of just faded away as you refocused your priorities.
Yeah, you think like a fishing trip to like New Zealand could work? You think that would be a good
I would,
example?
yes, of course. Yes, yes. If that's something you had been wanting to do, I would say that's certainly doable. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that just because you go on a trip that you won't that these thoughts won't go away. Um, they may still travel with you, but I think focusing on different things will be helpful for you because you're just going to work every day, you're coming home, the people that you expect to be there aren't there. Um, and you're kind of stuck in this, right? And so kind of giving yourself a couple weeks maybe off or a week to take a trip that you would find enjoyable would be really helpful, I would imagine.
Yeah, you said the word fun, and now I'm just thinking that I haven't had a whole lot of fun lately, and I think based on my situation, it makes sense. But man, I'd really like to start having some fun times again, and a couple of my buddies, they'd much rather go on a fishing trip with me than hear more stories about my failed marriage. I think they're getting real fed up with having me mope around and complain, and maybe they'll even have some supportive ideas about creating a little bit more fun in my life, because right now I don't know what fun is, but it sounds like you got some good ideas.
Yeah, and I like that you're focusing on fun, and trying to gain some of that back because I know from experience having kids, just a little self-disclosure. I mean, pretty much there can be points in raising kids where you do have fun, you do have joy, but a lot of it tends to be stressful. Is that a similar experience for you?
Yeah, I just once upon a time I was a simple man, and then I got married, and since then it's been a little complicated. But I think when more people get added into my life, there are gonna be some obstacles. But yeah, I can relate to exactly what you're saying.
Right. So, and you've centered your life around them for so long that it's almost hard to imagine um maybe even life before them and even and life going forward, right? But you can have some of the fun things you had before them right now.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a matter of just doing it. Sometimes I feel like I'm walking around with dumbbells attached to my ankles. Just getting up some days is just it's really hard. And I know you get sad people in here probably all the time, but I'm not saying I'm special. I'm special sad by any means, but I would like to maybe have a little bit more space or independence from that chapter of my life, like if we're looking at me prior to marriage as one part, me in the marriage, and then me right now, there are a lot of memories from that middle phase. And I think tapping into some of those earlier memories, before life got kind of crazy, um, maybe I could just start doing some more things on my own and not feeling like I need them to be there with me.
Right, right. And so um and I know you mentioned earlier you don't want to go over the points, and I'm not asking you to. go over the points where you said you messed up and it led to the divorce. I know you said you don't feel like discussing that. Now, we don't technically ever have to. I just think that if you do have the courage, if we get to a point where there's an understanding between me and you, that we can kind of work through some of that, I think it'd be very helpful for you to be able to kind of process the events that led up to, that mistake. Because the thing is, in my perspective, um, you don't live by you don't exist just by yourself. You don't make these decisions, just planned and you don't, necessarily see the consequences of everything you do. Um, when you do it. So, all I'm trying to say is everyone's human, right? Everyone makes mistakes. And this type of thing does happen to many people on Earth,
Mhm.
and I just want to let you know that I'm here for you, and if there's ever a point where you feel like, hey, let's talk about that, I really want you to consider bringing that up, because I have seen where others have worked through these types of decision making processes that led to uh, devastating consequences. And after working through it a little bit, they're able to make peace with it and move on a little better. But I really want you to focus on some, going forward after this meeting between meetings with us. Just think of some fun things you can do. Maybe you get off work and instead of going straight home, you try to explore the town a little bit. You don't The thing is you don't have responsibilities. You don't have to go home. I know it's a habitual thing. I have to go right home. I have to help with the family, and that's understandable. But you don't have that responsibility right now. So you could technically go enjoy yourself a little bit, and whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, no, I mean that all sounds like really good stuff. And now that I think about it, it would probably help me to get out of that house, a lot more often. And sometimes I feel like I'm glued to the couch, and maybe I want to go to Whataburger, but just getting off that couch sometimes is just a real tall order for me. But I take you seriously, Mr. Martin. I know that you're a good man, and I am gonna try. I think just that trying part has just been really tough lately. But I think I can find a few other things, just simple pleasures, just little things here and there that might make my day a little more enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. And now if we go a week from here and you haven't done any of that, I'm not gonna be upset. You're going through a hard process, and so I understand completely. You don't have to feel like you need to do anything. I just want you to consider it, that's all. So I really appreciate you meeting with me again today, Matt, and I wish the best for you going forward. And um, does the same time next week work for you, or what are you
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah, this is good. And yeah, let's do I just want to follow up with you next week, and hopefully I'll have some good news for you too.
All right, Matt. All right, we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you, sir.
No problem. Bye.